Yo, welcome back. Welcome back. What's up with you, King? This is the Who Am I Pod. We are your hosts, Kevin, King CJ. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm low-key confused. Like
Mhm.
it's been a long week, bro.
It's been a minute.
On Sunday, I was a devout Christian, and then on Friday, I became a lesbian. So
All right.
it's been a lot.
There's
It's
a
been a
lot of
lot
things
going
that
on.
there's a lot of things that need to be explained. A lot of things that need to be explained. Hopefully, we're gonna get to that today. But welcome back, man. It's been a minute. It's been a couple months for us. But we back. Obviously, Kanye West, Drake, both dropped. So we had to come back and talk about that. We had to come back. So today we're gonna let y'all know a little bit about what we've been listening to while we've been gone. Of course, review. Obviously, if you listened to the pod before, you probably already know where King probably gonna. You already probably know where I'm gonna stand on my side. We're gonna go ahead and get into a debate about that, and then probably hit a little bit of a positivity shout out at the end, and then that's it. This will be a nice little short pod about just strictly to the music, and then we'll be back on a weekly rotation as much as possible, God willing. Well, you are a Christian, so God willing.
He's done miracles on me.
So, man, let's talk about that. Let's if you want to go ahead and start, what's one of the albums you've been listening to over the last couple months?
Man, it's been a lot of music that came out. So just shout out. If I miss a couple, I'll make sure to bring them up in an upcoming episode. But I'll say first off, the album that I've been listening to most has been Bo Jackson from Boldy James and Alchemist. Literally, I play that every single day. Last year we didn't do a like end of year wrap up of like best hip hop albums or whatever, but I had him close to the top, if not my number one album of last year with Alchemist, and this one is a strong contender for album of the year as well. Boldy James is just a gritty bars, just type of person, like in that Griselda vein, from Detroit. And an Alchemist is just a legendary producer. We saw what he did for the Locks when we saw that Dipset battle. Like some of those biggest hits that they had just came from Alchemist. So imagine that legendary production, which is bars. It's just a perfect combination for me. So Bo Jackson by Boldy James, literally I've been listening to that every day. Highly recommend it.
Oh yeah. One of the albums that I've been listening to is Nas King's Disease 2. It's weird for me because I understand what they mean now more than ever when they say like the older rappers they rap different. They, if it got more feeling to it, things of that nature. It just doesn't expire. You know what I mean? Like you hear it, it's the same flow, it's kind of the same beat, you want to rap on the same sounds. But quiet as kept, he's been releasing some really good albums, some really good music over the last couple of years, and this is just one of them as well. I really heard that while really saying like it doesn't expire. If you listen to Lauryn Hill on Nobody on this album, you can really understand like, wow, she sounds the same and it still sounds fire. It's the same sound, just new words. It's a different color of the Jordan 1s. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same silhouette. It's the same setup, but it got different colors to it, and it still sounds amazing this far ahead into the future, I should say, from where she started at. So things like that just kind of make me smile. Like I'm happy that these older rappers, even though, like I said, it's quiet because a lot of the new, a younger person wouldn't really listen to this and probably vibe with it as much as probably I did. Your boy is getting old. I've been finding that out. We're gonna talk about King getting old too, but we gonna talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, we pushing 30. So this right here is right where I need to be, right where my sound. I'm glad it came when it did. It came right after, probably at the beginning of that 2-month stretch where at the end of covering that J. Cole thing. Have been listening to that a lot still, but this is one of the albums that I would recommend for the last couple months.
Yeah, it's dope to see after such a long career, Nas finally getting his flowers. I feel like for the bulk of his career, he's been kind of living in Jay-Z's shadow because of that big, huge battle that happened with Ether and Takeover. Excuse me. But going back to like some great albums or some big albums that drop right at the start of that hiatus that we had, man, Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator has, man, it's probably one of the best albums of the year. Like, to see him win a Grammy off of something that even he didn't even consider was a hip hop album, to come back and then produce basically a Gangsta Grills project with DJ Drama was just phenomenal, man. He gave you the best of hey, I can make a trap banger with 42 Doug, or I can make like a kind of a R&B ballad with NBA Youngboy. And I'll get into this a little bit later. When artists can bring in other artists and kind of bring the best out of them or make them perform in a way you wouldn't expect, I feel like that's a sign of a truly great artist. And I think that Tyler the Creator definitely did that with that album. He pushed himself into new limits, and I kind of feel like he he has been kind of back and forth with his last few albums, where one is like a little bit too alternative, some has been a little bit too rapidy rap, but he was able to kind of combine them both. And I think this is his best album by far. And I really think this is a contender for album of the year for me. So Tyler the Creator, Call Me If You Get Lost, phenomenal album.
So this is one thing that I've historically disagreed with you on as far as Tyler the Creator music. So I wanted to listen to this one. So I went into this. So I almost forgot about this, honestly. And I was very surprised. Tyler Creator, he can spit, dog, like that. That's what it really come down to. Like a lot of the kind of like the antics and the funny stuff kind of overshadows it sometimes. And he kind of got the Hospin vibe, like not really the devil worship spin, but kind of just like that. He got that kind of vibe, and Hospin, I say he couldn't rap either. But I always wonder how far that would get him. But this is real quality music, and I'm with you. It's in my top 5 this year already. Like, we already listed our top 5 a few months ago. Once this is sometime in June, once that 6 months hit of the year, and this something's got to go. That's how something definitely has to go out of that top 5. So I'm really appreciating that Tyler Creator album as well. I got 2 singles that I want to mention. One is Section by Ant Clemens featuring Kehlani. The other one is also Kiana Lede and Kehlani with Your Best Friend. 2 R&B tracks, 2 smooth tracks. I want to shout out my sister. She actually sent me both of these. She loves Kehlani. I'm not as high on her, but she sounded great on these. She sounded amazing on these, and it, to me, like I said, like we kind of always say with these kind of vibes with the female R&B, there's so many doing this kind of sound, especially like Kiana Lede, like we talked about, I think a year ago, maybe 2 years now. It's all kind of blending together. But maybe 2 years from now, Kiana Lede, we said she had one of the best R&B albums that was that year. And before that, it was Summer Walker, and before that, it might have been Snow Allegra. Before that, it was it just goes and goes and goes. There's so many doing this sound. I just never feel like she was at the top of it, but she's right where she needs to be on these songs, and that's why I can appreciate them. Again, that's Your Best Friend. That's Kiana Lede and Kehlani. And Section, I would really recommend. Section is really hard. I really like Your Best Friend, but Section to me is a little bit better. That's Ant Clemens and Kehlani. So go check those 2 out.
Yeah, my excuse me, my last 2 albums have, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, to be honest. I think Vince Staples, excuse me, not sure if I mentioned that on the last pod, but I feel like his best album to date. I've been talking up Kenny Beats on here for the last couple episodes just because of how much he gives back to the producer community on Twitch. But he actually linked up with Kenny Beats to produce the whole project. It's a funny story about how that actually happened, so I would highly recommend watching Vince Staples interviews. For any other reason, Vince Staples probably gives the best interviews in hip hop, like downright hilarious. But this is, I think, his best album just because it's a more palatable sound. And then Isaiah Rashad, The House is Burning. TDE just doesn't miss. They do have, seems like, some controversy going on in house. You know what I mean? We don't know all the details of it, but as it stands right now, TDE is one of the best labels out at producing music. And this Isaiah Rashad project was quality. Got features on there like SZA, like Black, like Uzi, like Smino. And typically Isaiah Rashad is more of a boom bap type rapper, but he was able to show his versatility and get on these different songs with these different type of artists and show his growth, because it's quite a long time since he dropped his last album. So Isaiah Rashad dropped The House is Burning, and then Vince Staples' self-titled album. Great projects if you're looking for something to listen to.
Been seeing a lot of that Isaiah Rashad out here, and I'm a big fan of Isaiah Rashad ever since he's been kind of rapping. He's with TDE, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yep. So yeah, I've been a big fan of Isaiah Rashad. It's one that I'm looking forward to listening to. I had to make room on my list. I didn't realize it dropped until Drake dropped, and everybody was like, "Oh, y'all sleeping on Isaiah Rashad." So I'm gonna go back and listen to that. Let me ask you this: how's J. Cole album aged for you?
To be completely honest, I haven't. Excuse me. I don't know why clear my throat so much. I haven't been running back to it as much, but when I do go back to listen to it, it's still good. So I'm not sure where that kind of stands. Whereas though, like this Boldy James project, I literally can't stop listening to it. And certain other songs, like certain R&B albums, I keep going back to that dropped earlier in the year, but I don't really feel the need to go back to this Cole album. But when I do, I definitely listen to that whole thing. So it's kind of in a weird spot for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't say it comes on every day, but I find myself kind of scrolling through like my library, especially if you got Apple Music, you'll see like the stuff that you've been doing most recently, probably back for a few months. And every time I see it, I definitely click on it, and then I'm definitely rolling for a while. So I still got it as number one actually, so that might be a spoiler alert for y'all, considering the two albums that dropped this week. But we'll talk about that in a bit. We'd be doing an injustice to hip hop if we didn't talk about Family Ties, Kendrick Lamar, Baby Keem. King, I'm gonna let you go first on this. Actually, what do you think about that track right there from Kendrick?
I feel like Baby Keem is definitely slept on as a lyricist just because of like how he raps. You know, like he gives you like a Playboy Cardi type of vibe. He gives you like a mumble rapper type of vibe. But if you listen to him a little bit, it's like, okay, he really snapping. You know, he might not be giving you Bible scriptures. He might not be telling you like the secrets of life or anything. His content may not be all the way there, but he really knows how to like give you bars and give you a good flow. So I was impressed with that. And then Kendrick just came back and kind of put his flag in the ground, like, hey, I'm still that dude, which I respect. I like that this was Baby Keem's song and not Kendrick's song. You know what I mean? So he can kind of like ease back into the door, but it's while I love the verse. He did everything right. He gave you quotables, he gave you moments. It was a dope video, like everything, a little controversy. He checked all the boxes. But it's kind of hard to put that stake in the ground when it's so many more people that's active. Like people are literally like J. Cole done put out 2 albums and a group project since your last one. You can't really be talking crazy because his body work speak different. Same thing for Drake. Drake done put out 2 albums just full of throwaways and now put out an album since you last put out yours. So we get it, your lyrical ability is there, and that verse was crazy, but I'm gonna need more out of you before you start talking crazy. That's my opinion.
Hey, I got the same criticism. I have the exact same criticism. Yes, this is all hard. It's all good, but you can't really be. I don't really think you could come and say that right now. It's been too long. It's been too long since you showed that, and one verse just isn't enough for me to be like, all right, yeah, he's still number one. Like I've seen a lot of people saying that, like, yeah, he's still. It's like I don't really think so. We don't let NBA players get injured for 3-4 years in a row and be like, well, they still number one when they come back. Not really, bro. We don't. Michael Jordan retired for a year, and everybody was talking about who's the next. You know what I mean? LeBron James missed the playoffs one year. Everybody talking about, okay, who's next? You know, Kevin Durant got hurt in the finals. Everybody, hey, who's next? You know what I mean? So we don't do that with our athletes. We're not doing that with our artists either. If you step out, especially with artists, because there's no reason for it, right? There may, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to say I don't know Kendrick lifestyle or anything like that, but it's not as much work. You know what I mean? What I'm saying, when we talking about athletes, it's a whole year's grinding and everything like that. I mean, with Kendrick talent, I'd imagine it'd probably take him a good 2 months to probably release a banger. You know what I mean? So 2 months went by several times since your last time we heard you. You know what I mean? So 2 months went by a lot of times before we've heard from you again. So from us hearing you now, even though we know you have the ability to be the number one, even though you have the catalog probably to be the number one, um, everything in the history says that you probably are the number one. And this verse definitely says that, hey, I still got it. I can definitely still do that. I can't really put you there when you fell in the swing. We'll talk about that a little bit later with Drake, where you're just not swinging. You're just not coming out doing anything. You're being too silent, way too silent for what I would want out of my number one artist. So he's just not there for me right now. Even though I know it's available to him, the tools are there in his toolkit, but I need to hear a little bit more than one track before I get too excited.
But that verse, Amazing, brother.
Yeah.
Amazing,
That's
brother.
not to say I don't. Yeah, that's not to say he was spazzing. I like Baby Keem verse 2 a lot. The beat was crazy. I actually think the first half of the beat was even better than the second half. I mean, I like the half that's on was Kendrick, but I would have loved to hear Kendrick on that first half of that beat. That first half of that beat was hard.
But that's the thing, Baby Keem, he's a good artist. Like, I haven't really been feeling like his past couple, like the Do-Rag Activity with Travis Scott was a little some of his like the Lucy's that came out. But overall, like I loved his last album. You know what I'm saying? It was an amazing project. So he has the potential. And for him, he didn't want to take any like, yo, I'm Kendrick cousin to make his name in the industry. So the fact that this was like, all right, bet y'all notice my cousin now. So now we're gonna make a track for this to be that one. I feel like this was just a solid step in his career. And then Kendrick came through, but that's what we expect.
Yeah, without question. So do you're expecting the album by the end of the year? I know you've been predicting that for the last 5 years, but
listen, I've literally been saying that every year.
I see it coming this year.
If I would have never guessed that Kanye would have put out an album before Kendrick, I would have never guessed that. Never would have guessed it. So I'm just taking it as it comes. But the thing is, so much good music has come out this year. I don't even care. I literally don't even care.
Yeah. It'd be nice to hear all three of them in the same year, though.
Mm-hmm.
But from what it sounds like, it's going to be a TDE project.
No. It's his last project on TDE.
Last project, okay.
Yeah.
I don't really like him leaving TDE, but that to me sounds like he ain't going to be rapping very much anymore. But who am I?
Amazing, brother.
All right. Well, we've made it to the part where this is what we came back for. Donda, CLB, Drake, Kanye, a load of good features, good production. I just want to start this whole conversation by I think both albums are good. We'll talk about which one we think is better and the reasons why, excuse me. But I want to start. Well, let's save the best for last. So we'll start with Kanye's. I'll let you go first. We'll talk about let's just talk about what you like. Let's talk about what you like about the album. I'll talk about what I like about the album. We'll go into some things that we both don't like. We'll do the same for Drake, and then we'll compare at the end. How's that sound?
Hey man, in the words of my dog Yeezus, they trying to knock me off my Q's in peace.
Oh, you know what? You need a bunch of Y's in that. I fucking hate that.
Oh man. So you want to go good, and then you say good, and then we go bad, and then you say bad. Okay, bet.
And then we'll compare.
So for Donda, my good obviously is the production. Man, like with any Kanye West project, the production is going to be A1, it's going to be top tier. But I felt like this was on par with some of his best produced albums. Just the experimentation of it, just the difference of it. It's so much. Only Kanye can give me this album. Like literally, even before it dropped, when I was listening to the live streams, I kept going back to it because I would try to listen to something else and it just wouldn't give me the same feeling. And I feel like that's something that's so unique. And like I was saying earlier, I'll say that for later. But another mark of a great artist is to deliver something that only you can do. Like that's legendary in itself, to where it's like, oh, only Kanye could do something like this. And for him to be at this stage in his career and still doing that, I feel like that was dope. Focus. Since 808s and Heartbreak, Kanye's content has just been all over the place. 1 minute he talking about, being lost in the world. The next minute he talking about getting bleach from a girl butthole on the shirt. You know what I mean? It's all over the place. And I feel like ever since he's found like this new, like, hey, I'm making Christian music, I'm going towards God, it has helped him kind of focus in on his messaging to where he's not so out all over the place. Is he still over the place? Yes, it's Kanye West. Like, this man literally tried to run for president last year. So his thought process is way different than all of ours, but I like the focus of it. And it seemed like a more consistent body of work. The major point of this, the features on here. Like I said earlier with Tyler, the Creator, Kanye brought the best out of everybody on here. He even had Little Yachty sounding good. Let's not talk about my dog that Kevo was hating on. Fabio Foreign might have given the best feature of the year, bro. That verse was crazy to the point when it originally came out. It was just him on it, but Kanye had to put a verse on it because he snapped so hard. Like, hey, I got to do some rap. I'm gonna rap like I got some type of respect for myself because that verse was so crazy. The Weeknd getting on a song and just like heavenly, you know what I mean? Like it's just so good. And this might be something that you think is wrong. You might think is bad, but I honestly feel like the rollout was good for this album because it brought us into the creation process and literally showed what type of superstar Kanye is to the point where he's selling out stadiums like it's nothing with an unfinished album to where you can actually see the album evolve from the first listening session to the second one to the third one and see how, okay, from the first to the second, it grew exponentially. I think that's the word. To where it's like when you first heard it, he was just mumbling, but the second time you heard it, oh no, he actually got some bars now. Now we actually got some more features. Oh, this might be one of the best albums ever. To where he got to the third one where he started making more changes and people was like, no, go back to this. You took Jay-Z off. Why would you do that? You took this person off. What you doing? And then he kind of came back and give us the final product. So I feel like us being involved with that creation process, us seeing some of these songs that started off as leaks to being debuted one way to changing and evolving, I feel like that was just a masterpiece in rolling out an album.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my list won't be too long because a lot of the stuff that you said is the same thing for me. I think it does come down to the production, the features, and I think I could rock with you on a rollout. I don't think it was a bad rollout at all, especially when put that way. Some of the standouts to me were the fact that the production was unique, right? It wasn't too crazy, right? It wasn't like Yeezus where I'm like, okay, I just don't really like these beats. It wasn't like Life of Pablo where I'm like, okay, well, this what he's saying is just kind of weird. The sound, like you said, the focusing on it all. I really love the gospel joints. Surprisingly, I really did. Like, there's nothing for me to argue about with the gospel joints. The features was immaculate. That was the best part of the album. Every song that had a feature was fantastic, and that's kind of how you got to come when you rapping with somebody of Kanye, Lil Wayne, Drake, Jay-Z, Kendrick, J. Cole, those probably those six. And then I may be missing some in there, but when you come on a feature for them, you gotta come with it. And I think everybody in recent history, as far as features go, have been dominating them. Everybody that's coming on a feature on somebody's album in the last, especially where you talk about Lil Baby, Dirk, the Baby, Lil Wayne been on some features, Rick Ross been on some features. You got Griselda coming out on here. Whoever you can say, whatever you want to say, whether it be J. Cole album, this album, Drake album, whoever's been coming on features in the last year or two have been absolutely dominating. I want I want to get out all the positivity, so I'm trying to think of anything else because you said most of the things. So yeah, I think that might be where my list ends, and then I got some cons, but we'll get to I want you to get to your cons. I'll get to mine.
Yeah, so as much of a Kanye fan and somebody to argue a stan I am, I do feel like there are some valid critiques of this album. First and the most obvious one are the Kanye bars. Kanye bars, like I've been saying, since 808s and Heartbreak had just been borderline cringy. But I think about it, the only person that's immune to this is Jay-Z. But if you look at other older rappers, this is just who they evolve into. You know what I mean? And to think of this is a 45-year-old billionaire, I can't expect him to have the same type of passion and that same type of content that he had when he was a hungry producer trying to prove that he was a worthy MC. I just can't. That's something I still have to wrestle with. But some of these bars are just borderline, just like cringe. Like, I talk to God every day. That's my bestie. God the Father, like Maury. Everybody hurts, but I don't judge Reynolds. I'm reaching for the stars like Buzz Lightyear. It's like, all right, come on, bro. Like,
I need this thing. I need text me with a bunch of Y's.
I like that because it was like a moment. That was like, it's corny, but
Yeah,
it was a moment to the point where it's like you can reference that point and it's like, all right, that's a moment in the song. But I can understand like stuff like that is like, all right, you sound like a dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he definitely didn't bring it with the bars, but I don't think he took away from it too much where he's still able to make good songs. But the bars here and there was like, all right, come on, Kanye. Like a couple times, I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Just a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I don't like is just the controversy. I feel like, and no pun intended, I just want good music. Just give me. This is probably the best album you put out in 5 to 6 years. So just stand on that, man. Like I've been fighting for this man and riding for him when everybody turned their back because I believe his genius is in making music. Obviously, he has genius in business and clothes and everything like that. But from the music perspective, he is one of the best, one of the greatest to ever, produce music. So I just wanted that. And sometimes the controversy with the tweets and the, the pictures of the group chats and the like, it's just too much, bro. Like that's not who you are. That's not you, Kanye. That's not your strong suit. So the controversy I could have dealt without. And obviously it's just too much damn music. It's too much, man. Like I love it. I'm not even going to lie. I've kept a bulk of this album. Like I've kept 23 of the 27 songs. Like I've kept a lot of music. I've still kept an hour and 40 minutes of music from this album because I like it. But that's an hour and 40 minutes of music. And the fact that you got people like Soulja Boy, you got people like Chris Brown, like, yo, why you cut my verse? It's like, come on, dude. Like, how much more do you need? And with this, if he was to condense it, if he was just to like make it more concise, like I know God breathed on it. He got like 2 minutes of just the beat playing. It's like, bro, just in the song, you know what I mean? But I feel like that if he was able to make this concise, the people that are on the fence about this album couldn't deny it. Like this has certified classic on it, but it's just way too drowned out with some things on here. Like the Pop Smoke interlude, that didn't need to have to be on here. The Donda chant, I get it. You know what I mean? That has your own personal, but that didn't have to be on there. So that's my negatives about the album.
Yeah, the album should have definitely started with Jail. That would have been way harder. Yeah, I'll start with my list. Like you said, as everybody would know, with these artists, I kind of give them some leeway as far as how long you make your album. If you do an hour and 30, I'm like, okay, your fans probably want to hear that. You got a lot of music. I know. I understand the concept. This is pushing 2 hours. That's that's too much, bro. Just at the end of the day, it's just too much. To the point where I think over the last week, I think I probably listened to it twice over. But by that second time, I was already skipping songs. Like, all right, I've heard it. I already know I like it or I don't. Because I'm just trying to get through it. I'm just trying to listen to it in one sitting, and in one sitting is tough to do. So way too long, way too many songs that could have been put out, that could have been left out. Two, and my biggest thing, and this really starts and ends with this, is the Kanye bars. I want to be clear first. I haven't really loved a Kanye album probably since like Graduation. So I want to be honest, like how I'm coming from this. I just haven't really loved his albums. I feel like it's been this way for him for a while, where he's the worst part of the songs. And that's just facts. I mean, that's part of the like that I have is that the features come so hard. We talked about this even just so we keep the same energy with Jay Electronica and Jay-Z, where it's like, is this a Jay project or is it a Jay Electronica project? Because Jay-Z is out rapping you on every single song. That's a downplay. That's you get a downgrade for that. You don't, even though the features you get a boost for that. You as an artist, you get a downgrade for that. Now, can I expect Kanye to out rap Lil Baby, Griselda? I can't even think of all the people that I just was rapping their ass off on here. But can I expect him to have better verses than them at this age in his career? Maybe not, but I don't expect you to be this bad. I just don't. Like, I know what you mean by this is what they like some artists age into, because like you hear this same kind of Lil Wayne sometimes, it's just kind of missing, like some bars are there. But I get spurts at a higher level from a Lil Wayne, right? I get those spurts at a higher level from Jim Jones or something like that. his highlights of this, as far as rapping goes, which maybe he just doesn't consider himself a rapper anymore, was very low on just the bar rating. Like it didn't really sound that good to me when he was talking. And you'll get some artists that do this a lot, that just kind of say stuff on the track, they just rhyme. Travis Scott is famous for this. Travis Scott is just literally is just his voice. Young Thug is good for this. Just his voice is sounding good. I think in the middle of a Travis Scott song, one time he said, talking about sprinkling a little Caesar on a salad, relieve my heart of malice, stroke my cactus. Like, it's just like, these is one right after each other. And I love that song. You know what I mean? Like, I love that song. But I guess to me, the bar is already set though for Kanye, right? The bar is already set. He had bars. They were there. So when it's so much further down than what I want to hold you at, if it's a little bit down, if it's halfway down, there's something like that. This is the bottom tier of some of the verses that I've heard from Kanye West. He was literally the worst part on this album. That's just not a good place for me to be in with him. Now that did not stop me from enjoying this album. So I'm not going to. I just want to get that out there because it is a big critique for me. But it didn't stop me from enjoying the album. I thought he did a great job of production. I thought he did a great job of just taking a step back and letting other people rap. We talked about that with his last album, I think, with the what is it?
Jesus is King.
Jesus is King, where it was just a little bit too much of him. This is the same criticism I had the last one. So now he's taking a step back, kind of like we said with dude from Griselda, I think West Side Gun, where sometimes he just takes a step back and lets other people rap because he knows, like, hey, I know these dudes can get it done. So he did a good job of that on this album, of taking taking a step back and letting other people do that job for him. And I can appreciate him for that. I think that's with somebody with such a big ego, it's probably hard for him to do that, but he did. He took a step back and let that happen. The controversy is hard for two reasons. The Chris Brown John, the Andre 3000 John, they both sound like they probably would have been two of the best songs on the album, from what I can tell. I really like the Chris Brown joint, the part that I heard up from it. I really like the Andre 3000 part that I heard from it. I can't really, I don't see why those were missing, other than maybe the album was just too long. Then he's talking about, well, will my label release this? Well, Kanye, you too big for having these type of things. If your label, I don't believe for 1 second that your label release this without you saying. There's no way. You're Kanye West. You go tell them when you want to release an album. You go tell them what you want on your album. You're way too big. There's no way I believe that at this point. So that type of criticism, that type of controversy, I should say, left two good songs off the album. And I'm not sure why. It doesn't really make sense. I know why one was left off. I don't know why the Chris Brown was left off. I didn't hear much of it. I only heard kind of the chorus and some Chris Brown verse, but it really did sound very, very good. And Chris Brown is just somebody I wouldn't leave off my album. I don't see why I would. So those are my biggest criticisms. Like I said, they're the same with George for different reasons. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Do you want to? You got some things you disagree with?
Just on the Chris Brown one, I can't get behind it because yes, it was a good verse, but it didn't fit the album. Like literally everybody's verse, even Dirk was on there talking about his brother dying and how he just got his dad out of jail to come home to that. Like that was personal. Lil Baby talking about personal things. Conway the Machine talking about like him almost dying and having that connection with God. Stuff like that. Like West Side Gun, like everybody's verse fit the album. Chris Brown was talking about being in a group text with a girl and her best friend, and that turned into group sex. That don't need to be on Donda. As good as it sounds like sonically, that's not. Even Fabio Foreign was talking about God. Like even his bars, like it was, he was talking his talk, but you know what I mean? It was God references here and there. It wasn't nothing too crazy. Like, so I don't feel like the content of Chris Brown's, and I think that's why it got cut off. Because Kid Cudi had a fire verse on Remote Control, but that got cut out because it was just too much and it didn't really add to anything. Whereas though everybody's verse added to the project and it was them in another light. Like Young Thug talking about Lil Yachty talking, Playboy Cardi talking. Baby Keem had one of the hardest God bars in there talking about some y'all treat y'all Lord and Savior like renter's insurance. Like you only call on them when you need something, but other than that, you don't think about it. Like that's what a feature is bringing to the Donda project. So for Chris Brown to be in there talking about having threesomes, I see why that didn't get put in there. But his vocals on the chorus was kept in there, which made the song, in my opinion. But to be mad that you not up here talking about threesomes on an album that don't have cursing on it, y'all can miss me with that, bro. I'm round with the executive decision to leave him off of that. And
That's
I
fair.
think we'll talk about this a little bit later. I feel like the Andre 3000 song was going to come out eventually, but I don't think it was going to come out in the way that it did eventually come out.
Yeah, that was a strategic move, I'd say. Um, another one more. This let me get my petty boots on real quick because this really irritates me, and I don't know why. Put the damn features on the titles. When I go to Apple Music or
Yeah.
Spotify, put the features there. I don't know. I don't know why. Is it clever? I don't really know what the reasoning is behind this, but put the features on the damn song so I know who I'm listening to. Like I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out if that was Baby Keem or not. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
it sounds like him, but that voice is common in a lot of people. You know what I mean? This could be Roddy Ricch for all I know. So yeah, put the damn features on that on it. It's kind of irritating. And it makes me know it lets me know what I'm getting to as I'm going through the track list. It lets me know, oh, okay, this one should be good. Oh, this one, okay. So for every reason. But yeah, what you rating it, man? Let's start there.
Yeah,
Stop
so
it there.
before I give it like a rating, my consensus on it, I feel like overall this is great music. Yeah, we both agree like Kanye might not have the best bars, but he didn't necessarily ruin it. It wasn't something like, oh, here like Kanye Park, come on, you got to turn it off. Like it was at least bearable, and I feel like at the overall level of music on here was great. I feel like this is his best album since The Life of Pablo, which I liked, but I'm a Kanye fan, so I can get past the cringe bars and everything like that. But this album showed to me even at Kanye's stage, like Kanye hasn't. You said Graduation, right? So let's just say Graduation is last time Kanye had bars. That was 14 years ago. It's been 14 years since somebody had bars. If we still expect him to get to that level of rapping, we're the problem. Like we can't. He hasn't done it in 14 years, so we can't expect him to do it. So I'm okay with him not having bars. I've accepted that about his career. But what I do appreciate is that he is still finding ways to get better. Like Come to Life might not be the best song he's created, but it's one of the best songs that he's created in this new lane. To where, like you said, some of the gospel songs, like I don't know what a gospel Kanye song really sounded like if you were to tell me this a year, 2 years ago. Come to Life is what a Kanye West gospel song sounds like. And it's amazing. Like it might not be up there, like I said, with some of the best Kanye songs, but that is the best gospel song that Kanye has made. And for him to still be making progress this late in his career to where we already see him in other areas of his career falling off to the point he's not going to return back to it. I respect that and I like that about this album. So for me, I give this an 8. And he has been saying that he's going to be working on it. Like the Andre 3000 song was supposed to come out in a later iteration of it. If you remember back to The Life of Pablo, he worked on that for up to 6 months after the release. And it really got better from all the tweaks and the changes he made. So I feel like if he was able to make those changes where I think he's going to make, this can easily go up to a 9. But as it stands right now, I feel like an 8 is a fair rating for this album.
Um, so I could appreciate all that. The reason why I'm raking it what I'm raking it again, I understand that I'm not supposed to expect this from him, but bearable shouldn't be a word I should use when I'm talking about a great album. It shouldn't even be. It shouldn't be anywhere near a great album. If I'm listening to a great album, all of it should be great. And no, he didn't ruin it, but he did hold it back. To me, that's an undeniable fact. He did hold the album back. He was not the best part of the album, and outside of his production, his verses were not the best part of the album. They were not any. None of them were bright spots in comparison to the features. So for that, it does for what I'm giving them. It does tell you how high I think of the features and the production. I'm giving them a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair.
Hey man, God breathed on this album, so
You know, right. All right.
it was going. It was going.
Yeah, no, good music though. Yeah, all the like I said, I love the back and forth. I love the in a way. This is real. This is real beef though. It ain't like they gonna fight or anything like that. But this is a real dislike between him and Drake. Like you can, it's been going on for years. Drake is really good with sending a sneak diss, but it's obvious who he's dissing. Like he's been doing those type of things for years. And he's been going at Kanye for a while. The weird part about it is I never really thought I'd hear Kanye responding, and we'll talk about that a little bit later because I don't think he has the bars to really just be rapping with him anymore. He can't beat him with sales, so that's not going to work. The money Drake is just big. Drake's pool is bigger now. Like you know what I mean? It is what it is. Drake is the bigger star now, so I don't really see what Kanye can really come at him about. So I always thought it's a weird thing that we'll never see an end to it because I don't think they'll ever, unless they just make amends, but we'll never see. It's not going to be a rap beef. It's just a real life. They don't like each other. But with that being said, man, let's get to this Drake, man. Certified Lover Boy. Again, you're good, my good. You're bad, my bad. We'll give a rating and then we'll compare the two.
So the obvious standout of this project is the bars. Now, this goes without saying, like many argue Drake is number one right now. People can say J. Cole, and based off his last effort, that's a pretty reasonable argument. But I just feel like Drake's bars, when he focuses and like, yo, I'm really gonna bar you up, it's very few that can stand in front of that man. I mean, very few that can really stand in front of that man. The problem is he doesn't do it enough to my liking, but whenever he make his mind up, yo, I'm rapping today, it's a done deal. So the bars on here were just immaculate on the songs that he chose to actually rap on, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Another one, the features on here, the collaborations on here. I felt a couple of these features on here saved the song. So a lot of people on here got on there and they understood the assignment. I'm like, all right, bet. I don't know if you bringing it the way you're supposed to be bringing it on this song, but I'm about to go crazy. And it's kind of a double-edged sword because I'll talk about this in the bad, but for the good songs, the features really did their job. Like Yeba, her interlude was beautiful. Like literally beautiful. And talking about like people still making progress, Drake is still teetering on the fence of I'm kind of a rapper and I'm kind of an R&B artist. And he's never picked a side, and I feel like that's to his detriment. I feel like if he just picks one, and if he alternates, like I'm gonna give you this time, it's a rap album, then the next one is an R&B album, and then alternate, I feel like his career will be so much better to me. But who can, what I'm saying, he number one, so who am I? But the song with Ty Dolla $ign, Get Along Better, that's like a quintessential. That's what I want out of a Drake R&B song. And then when he collabs with Future Travis Scott, it's like, all right, that's what I want out of that lane of Drake. So he kind of gave you the best of both worlds with those collaborations. So can't deny the bars, A1, and then most of the collaborations on there were amazing.
My points of emphasis on this obviously are the features. I think something that goes kind of underrated with Drake is 40 do his job on this production. Like he really, I don't know how many songs he actually produced on here. I don't know how much of a part that Drake plays in the production either. But the production is always A1. There's always so many. There's good features. There's there's good what's the word I'm thinking of?
Beats? Beats?
Well, there's good beats, but there's good samples. There's always good samples. You can always count on Drake producer to bring you some sample that just fits right into his vibe. Next thing is Drake has so many lanes, and that's the kind of tough part, right? That's that when you're a master, when you're good or great at all these things, you can't really be a master at anything. So it's kind of tough. I can't say, hey, I want you to rap more. I want you to do the rap thing more because there's a fan base that like his R&B side. I can't say I want you to stop doing the dance hall stuff because there's a fan base that likes his dance hall stuff. So I think he did a good job on this one with kind of balancing that. Like you said, when he just sits down and say, hey, we rapping today. I hope whoever on the song, I don't care. And usually, Rick Ross is usually, we're going to talk about this a little later, but Rick Ross is usually the victim of the I want to rap today type shit. I don't know why it's him, bro. But Rick Ross is usually the punching bag of the I want to rap today. So I know it's always, I know as a team, they're probably like 10 for 10 on their tracks together. But if somebody's counting, Rick Ross is definitely a victim of the Drake I want to rap today. Like the I want to rap today, Drake is always going that Ross deck. But yeah. So like I said, I personally would have liked. Oh no, that's a con. So I'll get into that a little bit later. Another good thing. I think the timing is just right. It could be a little shorter. If I can think of 2 songs that if you'd have left off, I think this would be a better album. But that's way better than what we typically get from him, where it's like, okay, it could probably be 5 or 6 songs that probably could have been we probably could have given you your throwaways. The bar is so high, right? The bar is extremely high. I mean, I would even say it was probably higher than J. Cole's, what we expect for J. Cole album. I think it's probably Kendrick might have a slightly higher bar just because of how long we heard from him. But Drake is legitimately the biggest star in hip hop today, and probably has been in the last 10 years. I mean, it's a massive amount of stuff you see on CLB on your timeline as soon as he drops. Anytime he drops, it's whatever else was out there, it's pretty much done. So just for Kanye West to be able to kind of bang in there as much as possible as he can, as far as the media control, things of that nature, just to be compared and things of that nature, that's saying a lot about Kanye West too, still at this day, because he's still a big star as well in his own right. He's always been a superstar. But since the bar is so high, I would say I think he delivered. I don't think. Oh, that's another con. Oh, I don't get to the cons yet. I'm gonna just end it with this. I think he delivered. And then I'll let you go on your cons.
So it's ironic that you said that the production was good, because that's actually my first con. I feel like it was lazy. It was lazy on an aspect where some songs it was just like, man, this has no energy. Like this literally has no, like, this isn't giving me a feeling. To whereas though, even on the songs I didn't like, and I hate to do this, I'm not just doing like, I'm not basing my opinion on this album in relation to Donda, but because they released at the same time, I'm just using that as a reference point. Even the songs I didn't like on Donda, I at least felt something. I was like, all right, he went for it. Whereas though the songs that I didn't like on Drake's, obviously they're not bad. Drake, I don't think Drake makes a bad song, except for Ratchet Happy Birthday. But other than that, I don't think Drake. It doesn't even. I even give a pass. I even give a pass to Way Too Sexy because it's doing what it's supposed to do. I don't like it, but the quote unquote bad songs, they don't give me anything. And sometimes I feel like that's worse. Like Kanye had a bar like, I'd be worried if they said nothing. You know what I mean? Like Drake is giving me a lot of, I don't have nothing to say about it. And to me, I don't appreciate that. And a lot of that comes from some bland production, or sometimes the production is doing too much. Whereas like sometimes it'll start with a minute and a half skit, then they go into 2 minutes of this song and then they end with a completely different song. And it's like, I get it. You try to be creative, but I can't vibe. I can't catch a vibe with this song. It's doing way too much right here. So sometimes like he'll find a pocket and then the beat changes like, all right, man, just give me that long little piece and I love this song. But then you combine it, I'm not even keeping it. So I feel like that kind of ruined it for me as far as the production. And you mentioned it with the good stuff, but this is my critique of it. Drake, because he's such a megastar, because he has such a wide audience to fill, he does too much. He's like, all right, I'm gonna give you some rap, I'm gonna give you some R&B, I'm gonna try to dip into this Afrobeat world, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna give you some bars, I'm gonna give you like some trap, hip hop, and it's like it should spread a little thin for me. To whereas though I want more of a concise album, and this is we'll talk about the comparing the two. Drake makes good songs. He doesn't necessarily make good albums. So if we were to look at this song by song, man, they're good. But we talk about an album, I couldn't catch a vibe because it was too all over the place. To one point, I'm like, yo, let's go. To the point where it's like, all right, well, this is kind of, to the R&B bag. Here it go. And now you back rapping again. It's like, all right, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like that is a little bit too over the place for me. And then my last thing, while yes, Drake has bars, his content wasn't here for me. Like he was rapping, but he wasn't really talking about nothing. I haven't learned anything new about Drake that I haven't heard over these past 3 or 4 albums. Since Views, all he's been talking about is losing friends. All he's been talking about people being fake and how hard it is being number one. And I get it. It must be hard to be in that position for so long. But after a while, you start to say the same thing. And I feel like I've heard you say this better before. I've heard you talk about not having friends. I've heard you talk about people being fake. I've heard you talking about the struggles of success. I've heard you talking about these same women problems. And I like those songs better than I like this one. So I don't know what it is. Maybe he needs to stop making albums so engulfed in controversy, because this album he beefing with Kanye. Scorpion beefing with Pusha T and Kanye. Views beefing with Meek Mill. It's the same concepts all 3 albums, and to me it really doesn't feel like he's talking about much when I really listen to what he's actually saying.
Yeah, I think part of that, and I actually think that was one of my cons too. I think a part of that is Drake is already at his stage. Like I mean, you could argue he's already at the pinnacle of his career. He's kind of like LeBron James, where he just has a long sustained, peak. Like it is what it is, and with that comes like, what do I rap about? I mean, nothing in my life has changed. I've been this millionaire, one of the best rappers for like a decade plus now. You know what I mean? I've been having beefs with this guy, that guy, this guy for the last 5, 8 years now. You know what I mean? So what am what I can't really change what I'm rapping about if I'm always rapping about myself. You know what I mean? And that's how rappers, I mean, every rapper should rap about their own life. But Drake's life hasn't really changed since he got to the top. It's been the same. It's just he is who he is. So I do say, yeah, the content is I don't want to say it's missing. It's just similar. It's just the same. It's the same as what we heard it. Another critique I got is I'm gonna just name this one directly. I think he missed some opportunities on some good beats though. I know you say you didn't like the production too much, but specifically for me is In Too Deep. That first part of that song has no business being there. The beat is way too hard for how he was on that. The whole beat on that first part was, when I heard the initial, like the sample, when I heard it, as soon as it came out, I said, "Oh, this one finna be crazy."
The Get Throw sample.
Oof. This one finna be crazy. I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm waiting for this one." And as it kept going on, I'm just thinking in my head, like, you taking it way too easy. And there was a couple songs like that on this album, a few, I should say, where I'm just like, man, you just taking it way too easy. And that may be why you saying like it doesn't have any feeling or anything like that, because Drake shouldn't need great production as good as he is with his lyrical ability, with his singing ability, with his ability to gel with any artist. He shouldn't need a great beat to make a great song, because his voice already on the track. He can make it do whatever he wanted to do. But man, was he taking it easy on some of these ones. Like, I think he would really benefit, and this may be a hot take, I don't know. I think he had the right idea with Scorpion, but it was executed a little bit poorly. I think he should go as far as Tory Lanez go. Tory Lanez drops rap albums now, and then he'll drop you a whole R&B album. You get one or the other. They might come in the same year, but you get one or the other. He doesn't really mix the two anymore. I personally think that's where Drake need to go, because I enjoy Drake's R&B side. Some people don't. Some people don't like it. I enjoy Drake R&B side. I think he's released a lot of good songs with the R&B stuff, especially when you talk about nearly all his joints with Ty Dolla $ign is pretty much a done deal, even all the way back to Jaded on Scorpion. If it's Ty Dolla $ign, Drake on R&B joint, you just call it a day. It's probably gonna be a good song. His rap, I don't know why he has to take it easy on some of these ones, but like you said, if he did it this way, he just made a rap album, just 12 songs, 10, 12 songs. Then he made an R&B album, 10, 12 songs. He could probably drop 2 classes in a year, just with that formula alone.
Easy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, without question. Like, that would 12, I'm rapping at here. Not I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna let this, because you could tell a lot of them when he raps with somebody with a lower lyrical ability, he brings himself down to that level too. There's times where he'll still stay up at the top. We had the John with the smiley dude. I don't remember his name, but we had that joy where he obviously was the highlight of that song because he was the only part of that song that anybody wanted to listen to. But he does bring himself down to rap with like a Future and Travis Scott. He does bring himself down to rap with a Young Thug. Where I sometimes, like with the Baby, it's like another missed opportunity. Like, go as hard as you did when you rap. Matter of fact, just remove this song and put that song that you released earlier with Baby on this one. Put the What's Next on this one and remove one of them other songs. These songs that you was dropping earlier in the year, like those ones should have been on this one. Put the Ross and you on this one, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's a part of the problem when you drop too much. Is just like you release some of the good stuff that you probably should have kept in for this one. I actually like I thought it could have also used the one with Roddy Ricch. I thought that song, where is that song at? That song should have been on here. So the picking and choosing of songs is kind of, when you make so many good ones, it kind of gets, you know what I mean? That's why you just got to do the 12. I think he should release them separately. I think it would be the biggest, no matter what he do, is going to be the biggest drop. He reaching 500K on pretty much any album he dropped. And that's easy. He going to hit platinum on every song. It's not about that anymore for you. We just want a classic. We want a classic. This one was not it. I don't think it's your worst work. I don't think it's your best work. It's probably somewhere in the middle. It's probably somewhere around Views, maybe a little bit above that to me. And I like Views, like you said. There's not a Drake album that I'm like, I just completely dislike. Like, I don't want to listen to any of these songs that come off of it. Even Scorpion, I know Scorpion had way too much. But yeah, overall, I think good album. We'll get to our ratings here shortly. But again, he could have went harder. It could have been a lot of rappy rap. I know it's Certified Lover Boy, so it kind of already, the title already tells you that it's going to be kind of soft. But even on the R, there's ways that Drake can really do it, show his ass, even on R&B stuff. And I just don't think even on the R&B songs, some of them, he really didn't do that either. So a little bit of a downgrade for me.
Yeah. So before I give my album, my consensus of it, Drake is one of the best. You can't argue that. Like you said, no matter what he does, he's going to be successful. That's just who Drake is. He's bigger than an artist. He's a phenomenon. Like, all right, Drake drops, he could literally put out a poopity scoop record and it's going to do 500K. So, and ain't
that the reason where it really started though? The poopity scoop song?
No, it started way before that.
But he did an interview where he said that they was talking. I don't mean to interrupt you either, but I just thought this was funny when I heard it this week. He did an interview where he was saying that he played that beat to Drake.
Mm-hmm. That was supposed to be Drake.
And it was supposed to be Drake's record, and it came out on his album with the poopity scoop stuff, so he thought he was trolling him.
Yeah. No, it started all the way back in when he took him off All the Lights.
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be on All the Lights. And he was like, yeah, he put 15 people on that song, but ironically, my verse got taken off, but whatever. And he did an interview saying that. It's a whole, if you want to check out the history of their beef, go to Trap Lore Ross on YouTube. He details it all the way out from their first, working together, from Say You Will, the beat, to him, Kanye directing his first video with Best I Ever Had, all the way up until the beef and disrespect now. Great watch. But I feel like he's running out of things to talk about, and he needs to find that new motivation to where this is my biggest problem with Dave East. Dave East is so successful, like with his acting, and he got so much other stuff going on. I know his potential. Like, he can rap. He's shown me before. But now when he puts out a project, it's like, it's no energy. People like Tyler, the Creator, are able to put a chip on their shoulder and was like, oh, y'all thought that was too alternative? Oh, I'm going to give you a Gangsta Grill. Or, oh, y'all thought this was a little bit alternative? I'm going to go all the way left and give you Igor. People like Jay-Z, hey, I'm the best or whatever, but I need to reinvent myself. All right, bet. I'm going to go super black. I'm going to go super woke and give you like a 444 and like, what I'm saying, give you another side of me that you haven't seen. People like Kanye, hey, I got nothing else to talk about. I'm talking about bleach buttholes. Let me talk about God. And then like they find a way to reinvent themselves. Kendrick, he literally reinvents himself every album. Every Kendrick album, he reinvents himself. J. Cole, to a point where now J. Cole is like more elevating. So when you talk about elite artists, those that stay and those that are cemented the greatest, they are reinventing themselves and they put a chip on the shoulder. Drake is just comfortable sitting on the throne. And as a consumer, we can't force him to change by making him go, doing 600,000 first week. What's the incentive to change? Hey, bro, I can do this, take less time, and then take less energy and effort, and y'all gonna make me number one. So it really don't matter. But I feel like this to me is a 7 out of 10 because the highlights on this album, phenomenal. Like literally, man, some of these bars is just like, I can't believe we have a human being on this earth rapping like this. Like it's just surgical with the bars. But then you got song where you talking about you a lesbian, me too. It's like, are you kidding? What are you, 15? Like, what are we talking about? Then you got way too sexy. It's like, all right, I get it, like memes and everything, but you Drake, dude. Like this is low hanging fruit right here. Like this is what you should be putting out in anticipation of an album. Should be on a 3-pack. This is not the album, and it's the lead single. You had God's Plan last time. Now you coming with way too sexy. Like, come on, dude. So that's my consensus. Phenomenal. Drake is a great artist, but I think the lows kind of brought it down a little bit too much for me.
Yeah. So when you grading these ones, it's tough, right? So when the bar is so high, like we talked about J. Cole, that's why I still got J. Cole as my number one, because I feel like that was one of his best albums for me. Like to me personally. Like, so when the bar is that high, it really is hard to continue to deliver over and over and over again. But let me tell you why before I give you I think this is why I think he delivered. For reasons like this. So you talked about the Girls Love Girls joint, right? That shit been ringing off on these IG models pages. You know what I mean? Like, even though I don't like it, that's the part about Drake that you gotta that I gotta give it handed to him. Even when there's songs that I don't like, I know it's somebody that loves it. My sister texted me 2 days after the album and said she thinks she says it's not his best work. She thinks it's up there though. You know what I mean? I came out with a completely different mindset. You know what I mean? There's people that the songs that you don't like, somebody else loved them. You know what I mean? Like they really like it. Like you didn't like Way Too Sexy. I thought it was kind of hard. You know what I mean? So there's that part of Drake that is like he'll never really fail because of those reasons. The songs that some of his fan base like, they'll like him. Another side of the country will like this side, and a different country completely will like this part of the album. So he's always going to be benefiting from that, and that always the floor is very high. You know what I mean? His ceiling goes as far as he wants it to go, but the floor is always going to be really, really high with Drake, and I gotta appreciate that. I can appreciate that level of consistency. That's why I would compare him to somebody like LeBron James, because they always say LeBron James don't really have that dog in him, right? Like he always gives you a good performance. He always gonna give you a good season. I'm gonna average 28, 7, and 7 always. Like that's what I'm gonna do for my team. I'm gonna give you a 40 point. I'm gonna give you a 50-point game. But the meanness, the 3-1 comeback, the 0 to 100, the summer 16, the you know what I mean, those like like you know what I mean, like this is what the I'm it, like I'm the guy type. This is the Drake that we can get potentially, and he always does a good job of releasing those type of songs before he comes out. And there was a little bit I don't hear. I really like No Friends in the Industries. I really like the song with Ross. There's a few of them like that on here. The 7 a.m. with some people try to say it's a Kanye diss. I don't know. He was kind of snapping, but I don't really know. There's a little bit of that on here. I just wish it was a little bit more. So like I said, as to where Kendrick, J. Cole came out from the first part of his album and he let you know, I'm at y'all fucking necks for the next 45 minutes. That's all I need. I don't need much. But these next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you why I'm the motherfucker that you fear. Like your favorite rapper do not want this with me because of these reasons. Let me give them to you in 12 songs. We don't get that from Drake because he's trying to satisfy the masses. Like when you try to satisfy the masses, no one is left. Not as many people are left feeling like, wow, this one was a classic. That's why it's hard to say he has a classic. So Going forward, like I said, I hope it's more concise. I hope it's, either one or the other. But I'm still giving it an 8. I want to say maybe a 7.5, but the reason why is because it's hard for me to give Drake anything less. Even if I gave him a 7, none of his that's really the floor. You know what I mean? That just means it's average for Drake. Drake's average is around a 7 to 8 to me. His better albums to me are 9s to 10s. I don't know if I don't know if he had a 10, it'd probably be Nothing Was the Same. You know what I mean? So, or some people say Take Care. So one of those two is probably a 10. Anything else that he's dropped is probably around 7 to 8. So this one I think is an 8. I liked it a little bit more than I thought I did after the first listen. I found about 14 songs that I like. That's a pretty good percentage. So I'm gonna give him an 8.
Yeah. And I've been checked. And for those that been in my DMs and been hitting me up, you know who you are. They've been checking me for my Drake bias. So I will say I do admit as time goes on, I'm opening up to more and more of the album, but I kind of do feel like the fog of the controversy between him and Kanye and the comparison between him and Kanye is not fully allowing me to appreciate this album. This is why I kind of gave J. Cole, I was like, J. Cole automatically is up on anybody that comes after because he struck first. He was the first one. So he automatically, you got to give him more credit because he set the bar and he set the bar high. So I kind of got to
give. It came out in February.
If this would have came out earlier in the year, I could have enjoyed it a little bit more. You know what I mean? But because I have so much great music in the year, because it's on the heel of what I believe is a great Kanye album. Again, I'm biased. I'm not even going to try to hide it. I am biased. I really like Kanye. He's been an influential person in my life. So because of all of that, I'm not able to fully appreciate an album that I think I probably would have liked a lot more had it not been involved in so much.
Which is fine. I mean, at least you admitted it. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I got biased too, right? Everybody know I'm not the biggest Kanye West fan, so I might not be seeing it as I should. I've tried to say, like I said, I think they're both good. I don't really think either one of them are great. That's where I stand. So do I think that Drake is a little bit better? Yeah, because my ear is a little bit more. I'd rather listen to that. I think it has a little bit more replay value than what there's some of these Kanye songs. Like, do I want to hear these Kanye songs right now? Yeah, absolutely. A little bit down the line, as I keep having to hear how many times I got to hear him say, put a bunch of Y's in it. Like, I don't know how many times I'm gonna want to hear that. Like the bars on that one, because now we enter a comparison. The bars on that one, like I said, you could even go to Drake and hear some of the crazy like stuff that he said. Like I said, the lesbian joint. Like, what do we talk about? Even though some people like it, but it sounds a lot better to me. You know what I mean? The low bars for Drake sound a lot better than the low bars from Kanye West. They're talking about two completely different stages. But the high points to me, the high points of Drake rapping when he put his goddamn rapping hat on, those is up there. Those ones is up there. And even if it's only 3 or 4 songs, it's still up there.
Yeah. So these two albums are tough to compare because they're Drake and Kanye are of kind of the same stature. Obviously, Drake is bigger now, but you could argue Kanye was Drake before Drake even existed. So their stature is similar, but the type of music that they're making is so different. It's really hard to compare. So what I've done is I broke it down into 4 categories. I broke it down into production, I broke it down into bars, I broke it down into content, I broke it down into features. So when it comes to production, I feel like Kanye got him. There are some great samples on Drake. It's like you mentioned, like the Get Throat sample, fire. Some of when he executed the beat switches, they were good. You know what I mean? Like some of them, they really did transition. Like the intro, crazy. Like flipping, I think that was like a Beatles sample, flipping that from one and then kind of slowing it down. Like that's how you execute it.
I like Poppy's on.
Yeah, the second one, right?
Yeah.
Great. Like it started off strong. Like those are good. But I feel like overall, consistently, Kanye took it with the production. Like even though he wasn't producing everything, like the Come to Life song, like granted, you might not like it. It might be a little too far left. And this is again why I'm biased because I do like that type of music. I feel like that song was just beautiful. Like it was produced by Tyler, the Creator, like having the guitar on there with the 2 pianos, one playing, one type of melody and the other one having a counter melody. Like that was beautiful. It felt like, yo, this is art right now. Like this is music as an art form. So I feel like the production side, Kanye got him. Bars, it's not even close. Like it's Kanye made a Christian album. He's sober, dude, because Drake owned all the bars, dude. Like he was handed out shot after shot after shot. You said something crazy about Drake since his last release. He is addressing you. Justin LeBoy, take this shot. Swiss Beats, take this shot. Kanye, take the whole round, my boy. Like I am showing you exactly what I came to do. And like Kanye's bars, I mean, not Kanye, Drake's bars were top tier. Like I said, when he decided to rap, just pack it in. I got nothing for. I feel bad criticizing because he's so petty. Like he said, it's Pretty Boys versus the Petty Boys, but he showed how petty he gets with the type of stuff that he was addressing. So I don't even want to say anything about his rapping ability. That was incredible, amazing. But when it comes to content, this was a toss up. This was a toss up.
Yeah, I would say so.
It was a toss up. I give the slight. This again, I'm biased. So if you were to give it to Drake, I give you that. But I felt like the content was more focused on the Kanye song or the Kanye album, to where it's all right, I know what I'm going to get, to where and it kind of blends in with the next category, but everybody is talking about the same thing. And you had people talking about some really deep things. Kanye, this is probably the first time he's really opened up about how the death of his mom affected him. We all saw this as a catalyst in his life and his career, but he's never really addressed it. He kind of hid behind talking about women and talking about his vices. This is the first time where it's like, oh, damn, like I understand now why you were so hurt. Now I understand the pain that you were feeling and the things you were going through. I understand now what you were going through with Kim, and he peeling that back in. And then the people on the track were showing the same thing as well, where it's like, I've really learned a lot about a lot of people on this album. So I feel I give the slight edge to Kanye on that, but I can see why you give it to Drake because his content was delivered at probably a higher level. Like it probably wasn't as deep as it was on Kanye's level, but it was probably delivered in a better way, in a more digestible way. So I would give it a toss up. Me personally, I'm biased. I'm gonna give it to Kanye because it was more focused. But if you give it to Drake, I completely understand. And the last one, gotta go features. I personally feel like the better features were on Kanye's album. Now they had a lot of the same features. I feel like Dirk's feature on Kanye's album was way better than his features on a Drake's album. He was literally shouting out his girl brand on his verse and was like, yo, Drake gonna do a lot of streams. I'm just shouting out her brand. Like that was literally a bar in his verse on Drake album where he was opening up, like I said before, about the death of his brother on Kanye's album and how his dad had to witness that and how he has to take care of them, knowing that he might be partly responsible for the things that he got him involved with.
And part of that, let me just real quick. That's why this song should be replaced with the song that came out with him and Dirk. Dirk already gave Drake the good feature.
Yeah.
That song should have been on this album. I don't know why it wasn't. You know what I mean? But that those type of things just irritate me because it's just like even a Lil Baby already gave you the go verse.
Yeah, and then his verse on this one is kind of like
it's all right, you know.
It's all right, but his verse on Hurricane, man, like the fact that song even did as good as it did, like The Weeknd went crazy with the harmonies. Lil Baby went crazy on the verse. Roddy Ricch went crazy on his song, and it's like you said, I wish I would have got the Roddy Ricch that I know exists with Drake, but he didn't put that on there. But Roddy Ricch on Kanye album, crazy. Like I said before, Baby Keem, not somebody you would consider lyrical, but the bar about y'all treat y'all Lord and Saviors like rental insurance, that made me think like, damn, that's tough. You know what I mean? Jay Electronica ain't handing out verses like that. So, and this is in his wheelhouse. So you got him going crazy. Jay-Z, I'm not going to slander Jay-Z, but that verse on Drake album, kind of mid. Not going to lie. That I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm a fucking billion. I know what the fuck you. Yo.
Yeah.
What we doing?
Yeah.
What we doing?
You just talking to Donda a few days ago. You can't be.
Oh, bro, what we doing?
You just in church with you know? Like, chill out, bro.
That was kind of crazy. I felt like that, like whoever he talking about, they know that was it. Like they know he talking to him. So that seemed personal. But Jay-Z's wordplay on jail to the point where, you know what I mean, God in my cells, that's my celly. Talking about being in jail, you have a celly, but God is in him, you know, made in the image of God. That's a selfie. Like, just automatically the wordplay was like top tier, to where he ended the verse with quoting different Kanye songs, like Yikes, and talking about what was the other one, Send It Up, and all that stuff. Like, it was just Kanye. I really felt like he brought the best out of his features. So overall, I give the production to Kanye, I give the bars to Drake. Content could be a toss up. I personally give it to Kanye, but then I give the features to Kanye as well. So that's how I feel like Kanye has the better album based on that criteria.
So this is crazy. I'm not mad at any of that. I'm mad at what I'm hearing on for. Like, let's just talk about the features. Like, if you take out the Giveon feature on this one, even though I like that song, replace it with Chicago Freestyle. You take the Little Baby joint off of this one, replace it with the one he dropped earlier this year. Take the Little Dirk one off, replace it with the one earlier this year. We're building a classic right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are now building a classic.
Yep.
I don't know why you release these songs. They're too good. These songs should be on albums. If I heard that Little Baby verse for the first time on Friday when this dropped, somewhere in the middle of this album, I'd have been like, yo. Like, I'd have been like, yo, this was crazy. If I'd have heard that Drake in and I'm forgetting all the names of all these songs, but if I heard that same Drake and Ross song on this one,
Lemon Pepper Freestyle.
If the Lemon Pepper Freestyle was on this one, somewhere in the middle of this, I'd be like, yo, this shit is going nuts. And then you just throw the Little Dirk one on there just because it's a fun. That could have been the lead single. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That one is something like that. That to me sounds more like the lead single than Way Too Sexy. So I don't expect Drake to make these mistakes this late in his career. You know what I'm saying? And some people would argue it's not really a mistake. I would argue it is. I would argue it is. Those songs were those 3 songs are better than 3 songs on this one. It's that simple. It don't take a rocket scientist. Those 3 songs I just mentioned, those 4 songs, because Chicago Freestyle, it was old, but you know what I mean? That was a real Giveon feature to me than what we got on this one. You take those 4 songs, replace those on and line them up against 4 songs on this one. You can find a place to put those. You can definitely find a place to put those. So that's kind of my argument. It could have been a lot better. All these good songs, all these shits he was going hard on in the last year, maybe to 2 years. Some of those shit should have made it here. And I still want the Roddy Ricch song, damn it. Like, damn it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I still want the Roddy Ricch song. And where the fuck is the Griselda feature? We've been talking about that for fucking. Where the hell is the Griselda at?
It's on Kanye album. Kanye got the Griselda. Kanye put the locks on the album after the verses.
That was hard. That song. That's my favorite song, actually. So I'm rocking with that.
Granted, it's longer than the Avengers movie, but but
that's kind of a big downfall of Drake Kanye album too. It's just some shit that I'm just like, bro.
It's literally longer than the Avengers movie.
Why is there 4 part 2s on here, dog? Like, why is it 4 part 2s, bro? Like, I don't need this is when you should release a deluxe album. Like, this is when you just drop what you're gonna drop, and then you put the deluxe out, and then I'd be excited to hear it at that point.
Yeah,
you let it rest for about 6 months. It's like, oh, he just dropped Donda Deluxe. It got all these different verses that you never heard from it on there. It got the deleted scenes right here on it. That's when you release that, dog. Like, that's why I'm like, because it seems like a burden to have to listen to it all at once.
Yeah, after a while, it became a task. Like, all right, here we go. Where am I at? I'm at. All right, we had an hour and a half. We still got 3 more to go.
Legitimately, I'm looking down like, damn, what's on? Damn, I'm only at 7. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like it felt like a task, man. But needless to say, I think they're both good. I think the Drake one will probably grow a little bit. Will grow a little bit with more and a little bit better. But that's just because he's just. I don't. Was Kanye this big at his peak?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think so?
Yeah, bro. Kanye was culture. You gotta think.
Yeah.
Kanye was music but he's also fashion. He's also, like lifestyle. Kanye was everything. Drake is like, he has a foothold on music, but that's it. And I don't really care about Drake too much other than the music. You know what I mean? Kanye was everything, to where he's producing, he's rapping, he got fashion. He literally changed sneaker culture. Sneaker culture was just Jordans. He literally became like a major player in sneaker culture, to where it's like, oh, Adidas might be a formidable opponent. Now, all right, bet we got all these designers over there now. We got Pharrell over there. That wouldn't existed without Kanye. Anything besides like Jordans, like, yeah, you got the Griffies here and there, you got the foam posits, that's a culture, but the Yeezys, hey, that's different.
Big deal.
So, to see, he was peak at so many different levels.
Let me give you this though, just to end it, just for shits and giggles. Because I want to ask you about a Drake and Kanye verse, but I already know your answer, so it'll be useless. Who can beat? I'm gonna give you these four. Outside these four going up against each other, who catalog could beat them in the verses? Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Drake, Kanye. Is there anybody that you think versus they catalog can stand outside of those four?
Of today's artists?
Of anybody.
I say Snoop. Snoop could probably
lose to all four of them though.
I don't know, bro. Snoop got classics, man.
Snoop do got classics, but Snoop probably lose to all four of them.
I say Dre.
Who did he go? Who did he go up against?
DMX.
He did smoke DMX though.
Yeah, DMX. You gotta think Snoop got classics over generations. He got Beautiful.
Yeah.
He got Drop It Like It's Hot. He got Murder Was the Case.
Sexy was
Doggy Dog is a freak.
Shit.
Stop playing with my dog.
That's it.
That's just slap.
That shit was smacking though. That shit, oh god, that shit was slapping.
That shit slap.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
I say Dre, maybe Q. I say a lot of West Coast legends.
West Coast legends, okay.
Probably the West Coast.
It'd still be a battle though. It wouldn't like.
No. It's not gonna be a wash with any of those.
None of them is a definitive win.
But I
don't
see
Dre anybody that's just like right there, dog. Dre's, and that's like I said, that's cream of the crop.
Yeah. Well, that's you talk about Jay-Z. Hey, that's
Jay-Z's.
That's the GOAT.
Yeah, Jay-Z's the GOAT.
That's the GOAT. Some might say Eminem, but I don't feel like Eminem in a verse. What's that?
I don't think Eminem will do well in the verse.
Eminem will do well in the verses if he gets to perform. Because Eminem is a battle rapper. He's a battle rapper. So we saw what it takes. Dipset had the bigger records, but because the Locks were able to perform, they got him out of there. You know what I'm saying? So Eminem, if he's able to perform and he plays Renegade before Jay-Z does and washes him, is different. You know what I'm saying? So
versus M.
It depends. Because you got two different audiences. The people that like Eminem, they gonna be on the internet. They're gonna be in the comments. People like Wayne, they're gonna be in the crowd. So it's like Lil Wayne drop Lollipop. Hey, it's a party. But Eminem gonna drop something that's like, God damn, that motherfucker was spitting, wasn't he? So,
but Dwayne can come back at you with those too. What I'm saying is Eminem lacks those. I don't want to say hits, but I want to say hits.
Nah, bro.
I don't think he got as many hits as Wayne.
Ah, bro. I think you're crazy. He might not have as many cultural hits, but Eminem hits are universal.
Yeah.
Like,
but I don't think you get as I think Wayne could go about 30, 40 deep.
Yeah, you and I think you talking about like mixtapes. So if they do it like the verses,
add all that,
yeah. If they do it like verses, hey, it's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? Wayne come off of $1 million and he dropped like a swag surfing or something like that. Like it's gonna be tough, but you know, it's been so long since we seen peak Eminem. I think we forget how big peak Eminem actually was. Like Eminem was a problem, dude.
Yeah. And he's still giving you that shit. That shit he dropped with Logic was hard.
Yeah. Not my cup of tea, but you know, I'm a coffee drinker. So who am I?
You know, who am I? Well, I think that's all we got. I do want to give a shout out. Not much of a shout out here, so you don't have to respond if you don't want to, as far as with another positive shout out. But I do want to say happy birthday to my dog. I didn't know if anybody knew on here, but before I just wanted to make sure I end off that with that, man. Happy birthday, man. You've been aging like fine wine, my brother. Like you've been getting smarter, bro. You've been working harder, bro. Like you a good example for me, kind of following along with you. And you've been my right hand man for I can't remember. You like my rib now, bro. We you know, I legitimately when I wasn't doing the pod, I'm like, man, I just gotta go talk to Key, man. Like, that's really my dog. I love you, brother. I hope you had a good birthday. I'm gonna see you soon. It's been way too long.
Thanks.
We're gonna get to Hawaii next month. Let's get there. Let's make up for all these lost times. Let's make up for this birthday, man. Happy birthday, for real. I love you, dog.
Appreciate you, bro. I love you too, man. You already know where we stand, bro.
For sure.
So I don't want to end it on self-indulgent. You know what I mean? Because
it's second birthday, time man. You should.
Nah, I ain't gonna do that, man. I'm gonna spread the love because it's bigger than me. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
So my positivity shout out. I'm actually late to the party, but I just been finding this in the past couple months. His real name is Donald De La Haye, but you may know him as Destroying on YouTube. 2017, UCF, they revoked his eligibility because he was making YouTube videos and he was actually monetizing them. He wasn't making a lot of money, but he was getting like 20, 30, 40,000 views to the point where they called him in and was like, hey, and they gave him an ultimatum basically and was like, look, we're going to revoke your scholarship or you're going to have to delete all the videos, donate all the money that you made back. And then the only way you can release a video is if that your face or your likeness is not in it is at any point. So they kind of sat him down and he had that revelation. And he said he made this decision out of emotion, but he was like, I'm sticking with what I can control. So I'm going to go and I'm going to continue to make the videos on YouTube. And immediately they revoked his scholarship. Immediately came out on like ESPN and it was like global news. So it was a rough few months for him after that. Like he was homeless. He had to live with a friend, sleep on his couch. But he took that all that time since he wasn't going to school and he invested it into making more and more and more videos and more content. And eventually it got to a point where he's making videos with Antonio Brown, Tyreek Hill, Dez Bryant, and even Jake Paul. Regardless of how you feel about him personally, they do numbers. So if you look at any of his videos, they're 1 million plus just based off the brand that he was able to build. And he just recently signed a deal with WME, which is the longest running talent agency in the world. So he had different sponsorships. He's been on like a series with House of Highlights with doing, because he's originally a kicker. So he's been doing like kicking challenges, but he also does like route running challenges. He does a 7-on-7 thing. He makes a lot of great content. But I really wanted to highlight him because he was a pioneer in earlier this year. We know that the NCAA, they allow athletes to kind of use their likeness to make deals and get sponsorships and actually make money and monetize themselves. And he was on the front end of that. And he made the decision to stand by and empower himself when it wasn't cool, when it wasn't the right thing to do, when the NCAA still frowned upon that. And I feel like people like him paved the way to kind of evoke change. So to see him be successful and to see that decision not be the end of him and to see him keep going and flourish to the point that he's got now, I feel like he definitely needs to be highlighted because it only takes one person to stand up to something that's wrong to create the change that's needed in the world. And although this is sports, although this is something relatively, harmless, that decision literally changed the course of college sports forever to the point we now getting NCAA games back. So shout out to him. I wish him continued success. And that's somebody I think we should highlight.
Hell yeah. I actually been following him and didn't even know his whole story. I know I remember because he was telling his story once that came out, like, man, that's crazy. Like that, like he was just started talking about, but yeah, I follow him on TikTok, man. He's you do got a good content. Cause like I said, I didn't even know that story. I was following him just because I'm like, damn, I was just like, what he be?
Yeah, exactly. That's how same way I found him. Like he was just doing like a route running thing. And I was like, oh, bro, he a pretty good receiver. And I was like, hold up, let's do the kicker. And then boom, like now he with like the number one athletes and he do this series called like Friday Night Lights where he go to like the best recruited people and he get on the sidelines and talk to them and all like, bro, I love
finding people like that and supporting them too. Like there's another guy, RJ Young. He's like a college football analyst. I just happened one day. It may have been a year or two ago. I was just scrolling through and I was seeing some college football stuff. Clicked on his video. I'm like, damn, I like this dude. Kept following. Subscribed to him. Started liking his videos. And now he's actually on Fox. He has a show on Fox now. You know what I mean? He was just a YouTube dude. You know what I mean? So like now it's just like every time I get a chance, I want to watch RJ Young because I'm like, man, that's cool, bro. You actually, you did your thing enough on YouTube to where Fox was like, hey, go get him. Like, go get him. So yeah, I respect that type of stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, sometimes you gotta make the decision. Sometimes you gotta make a 2-hour Christian album, but you know what I mean? You just gotta take the first step and be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah, and Ye's pool is nice. I mean, Drake's just big is what he said. I mean,
hey man, all I know, Kanye is a gangster disciple now. So I don't even know if I want I don't even know if I want to talk crazy about Kanye anymore.
Well, it'd be crazy if they beef because who sides with who, bro? Because they had like damn near the same features. You know what I mean?
Listen, I knew something was up when Kanye brought out Ruger to play the GD anthem. I was like, this is different. Like at the shows, like they let the GDs in the dough. I was like, hold up,
bro. I was like, what the fuck?
Is this the Donda? Is this the Donda?
I'm in the wrong church, bro. Yeah, we appreciate y'all tuning in, though. Don't forget to go listen to that Sexual Seduction.
I wanna take my time. She gonna get hers before I.
No, we definitely ended this episode with that. That's definitely. If you
gonna take control,
it's definitely about to start playing right now.
I'm not gonna rush the stroke. He was sick, dog. He was sick. He was a sick man.
Nah, that's some nasty.
You a nasty man.
Nasty shit, bro. Oh, bro. Nah, man, we appreciate y'all though, man. We'll be back next week. Absolutely.
So you can get a sexual eruption.
Eruption.